Did you hear about the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial? It was one of those things that absolutely took over the media, with everyone chiming in on every detail, every accusation, and every moment. It was everywhere, from news outlets to social media, and even in memes. But beyond all of that drama, there's one part of the story that stands out more than all the others. I'm talking about poopgate. Yeah, you heard that right, poopgate. It sounds like something straight out of a bizarre comedy, right? But, in reality, it's a huge part of the wild ride that led Johnny Depp to go to war with his ex-wife, Amber Heard. Now, I'm sure we've all seen the headlines, the drama unfolding across news channels, and probably countless memes online. But have you ever stopped to wonder, why did Johnny Depp decide to put himself through the public humiliation of fighting these abuse claims? What happened behind the scenes? Was it really about clearing his name, or was there something deeper at play? And, let's be honest, why on earth would anyone go through such a public, messy ordeal, especially when they didn't have to? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. We're going to break down the whole Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial step by step and figure out why Johnny chose to fight back, even when it meant enduring some of the most awkward and embarrassing moments of his life. Trust me when I say, this story is so much more than just a courtroom drama. It's about personal pride, protecting your image, and standing up for the truth, even when it's difficult. So, let's kick things off with poopgate. If you've never heard of it, let me give you a little refresher. During one of the many arguments between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, things got, well, strange. Johnny claimed that during one of their fights, Amber, in a fit of anger, left a present in his bed. And no, it wasn't a surprise gift wrapped in a nice box. It was literally a human poop. Yeah, you heard that right. A human poop. It sounds insane, right? Like, how could something like this even happen? But this bizarre incident became the centerpiece of a media frenzy. The story spread like wildfire, and it quickly turned into one of the most talked about events of the trial. People couldn't stop discussing it. Now, I get it. It's a crazy story. You're probably sitting there, thinking, how in the world could something like this be real? But here's the thing. This incident, as strange and embarrassing as it was, became one of the focal points of the trial. It was a bizarre, dramatic story that kept coming up in the case. And in many ways, it set the stage for everything that followed. But, of course, the question still remains, why? Why did Johnny Depp decide to go public with something so embarrassing? And why did he choose to fight back instead of staying silent? Well, let's dig into that a little deeper. You see, Johnny Depp didn't just go through this mess for the sake of it. This wasn't just about winning a lawsuit or trying to get money out of Amber. It was about something far more personal, his reputation. Picture this for a moment. You've spent years, even decades, building up a solid reputation. You've made a name for yourself in your career, and you're respected for what you do. Whether it's acting, writing, or anything else, you've worked hard to get where you are. You're known for being talented, reliable, and trustworthy. Then, out of nowhere, accusations of abuse start flying your way. The media picks it up, runs with it, and before you know it, your life is under a microscope. Suddenly, the way people see you begins to change. Your reputation starts to take a hit. And, in Johnny Depp's case, that's exactly what happened. For Johnny, this wasn't just about winning a lawsuit or getting a big payday. It wasn't about that at all. What really mattered to him was clearing his name. He had to prove that he wasn't the villain the media was making him out to be. And, ultimately, that's what led him to decide to fight back. Now, think about it. Imagine you're in Johnny Depp's shoes for a moment. What would you do if you were facing accusations like that? When you're dealing with something this big, something that could completely destroy your public image, you don't just sit back and hope it'll blow over. You don't sit back and let others dictate how the world sees you. Johnny Depp wasn't about to let the world think he was someone he wasn't. No way. He was determined to stand up for the truth. He wanted the world to know the real story, the whole story. And if that meant putting himself through some of the most embarrassing, public moments of his life, then so be it. For him, the truth mattered more than his pride. But this wasn't just about a couple of accusations. It wasn't about one lawsuit or a single claim. The battle between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard was far more than just a legal issue, it was a massive media circus. Every day, a new headline would pop up. The media couldn't get enough of it. People were glued to their screens, watching every twist and turn of this highly publicized case. Johnny wasn't just fighting for his reputation in court, he was fighting for it in the court of public opinion, too. And that's a fight that often gets overlooked. You see, once your name is dragged through the mud, it's not easy to come back from that. People can be quick to judge, quick to form opinions based on what they see in the headlines. But Johnny wasn't about to let that happen. He fought for his name, for his dignity, and for the truth to come out. And let's not forget the emotional toll this entire situation took on him. He wasn't just some celebrity caught up in a scandal. He was a person, just like anyone else, facing a public attack on his character. And, at the end of the day, he wanted to protect his dignity and his mental health. Now, I know it's easy to sit back and think, well, why didn't he just keep quiet? Why didn't he walk away from the drama? But here's the thing. When you've spent so many years building up your career and your reputation, you don't want to let all of that go to waste. Johnny wasn't just fighting for the truth, he was fighting for everything he'd worked for. He was fighting for his legacy. And here's something else to consider. While the media was focused on the drama, Johnny Depp was making a conscious decision to stand up for himself. It wasn't just about the accusations, it was about his self-image. Johnny didn't want to be remembered as a man whose career was ruined by false accusations. He didn't want to go down in history as the guy who didn't fight back. He wanted to be remembered for who he truly was, someone who wasn't afraid to stand up for what was right, even when the world was watching. But here's the most important thing, facing something as big as public humiliation isn't easy. It's natural to ask, why am I putting myself through this? I think a lot of people would ask that question if they were in his position. Why go through all the media attention, the rumors, the chaos? Why deal with the drama at all? And the answer, for Johnny Depp, was simple. He knew that if he didn't stand up for himself, he would never be able to get back to the person he was before the scandal. And here's the thing, standing up for yourself isn't always about winning a case or getting people to like you again. Sometimes, it's about taking control of the narrative. It's about saying, I'm not going to let this define me. This is not who I am. And that's exactly what Johnny Depp did. He took control of his story. He fought for his name, even if it meant putting himself out there in ways that most of us would never dream of doing. Let's take a step back and think about this a little more. Johnny Depp wasn't just fighting for his reputation in court. He was fighting for it everywhere. He was fighting for it in the eyes of the public, in the media, and in every corner of social media. We live in a world now where public opinion is everything. Once your name is tarnished, it's incredibly hard to get back to where you were before. And yet, Johnny didn't let that stop him. He chose to fight back, no matter how messy or public it got. And that's something we can all learn from. When life gets tough and the world starts to judge you, you have a choice. You can let it break you, or you can stand up and say, I'm not going down without a fight. Johnny Depp chose the latter. He chose to fight back, no matter how difficult it was. And honestly, that's one of the most important lessons we can take from this whole ordeal. But, if you're still wondering whether it was all worth it, let me ask you this, what would you have done? If you were in Johnny Depp's shoes, would you have gone through the public scrutiny, the courtroom drama, and the media frenzy just to clear your name? Or would you have stayed quiet and hoped it would all blow over? It's a tough question to answer, right? But Johnny Depp didn't shy away from it. He faced the storm head-on. And, while we may never know all the details of his personal journey, what we do know is this: he wasn't going to let false accusations define him. He wasn't going to let the world think he was something he wasn't. And, in the end, that's what made him stand out. It's what made him stronger. So, what does this whole story teach us? For one, it shows us that sometimes, the fight is worth it. Sometimes, you have to go through the fire to come out stronger on the other side. Johnny Depp's journey wasn't easy, but in the end, he fought for what mattered most to him, his truth. And that's something we can all respect. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Johnny Depp made the right choice by fighting back, even with all the personal embarrassment? Or do you think he should have handled it differently? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And, hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard saga, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this one. You won't want to miss the next video I've got lined up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.